time, and he went ahead and told me something that was stuck in my head. That when you're with these horses, you gotta be able to learn how to train one, tune one, and show one. And those are three separate things to learn. So you've got those three things, so you can go ahead, and if you're not training one, at least you learn how to go ahead and tune one and show one. So what Lenny's gonna go ahead and go over all those aspects with you right there. So remember that. Train, tune, show. And those are something right there that, like Lindy can go ahead, and not a whole lot of people can do all three. They can go ahead and train one, but they have trouble showing, or they can tune and show one, but they have trouble training one. But to be able to do all three, that's what she's going to be working with you. So that's what you want to think about. When do you train and when do you tune it? If you tune it all the time, you might need to stop, go back to train a little bit, and then work up to your tune. So you can show it. The ultimate goal, if you're at a football game, and every time you get that ball, every play is designed to make a touchdown. So when you're going ahead and riding your horse, everything is designed to go ahead and help your horse be the best he can be. And you're teaching that horse how to go ahead and score a touchdown. An 80. Does anybody know what an 80 run looks like? Do you? If you don't, start figuring it out. Get it in your mind. What does an 80 run look like? What do you want your run to look like? And I've asked people too that are judged right there, have you ever seen an 80 run? And they said no. So I said, you know what it looks like? And they go, no. You know what an 80 run looks like. In your mind, because you're trying to work for that perfection, you should know how you want it to look like. And over time, that picture will change as you learn more. You want to try to go ahead and imagine what it would look like. Okay? Does anybody feel that? So start picturing. If you see something, see a horse do something like that, well, how did that happen? Try to go ahead and work so you can go ahead and imagine your run and imagine how it's going to look when you get out there and do that. You got to work that. You got to study films. This man here is going to go ahead and be filming us for the next 3 days. You go ahead and study those films, study those films. When I was at the Oxford Ranch, we used to go ahead and film ourselves every day and go in at night and study those films. We had a camera set up. Dan Lumpkin was kind enough to go ahead and get that set up for us. We'd study those films and study those films and study those films. That's the only way you're going to get better. So, that's all I have to say.
And you bring up the point of showmanship, which, you know, we're probably going to talk about it a little bit more this evening and tomorrow, but showmanship doesn't mean you walk in on the best horse every time. Showmanship is you do the best you can with what you got. And a lot of times that best horse will make a mistake, or the rider will make a mistake. Or there's not an equine discipline or sport. I don't think there's a sport. And he's this one day, or he's looked at his husband. He's never seen a sport, he said, where there's so many ways to lose. And all that's saying is that there's 1,000 variables. There's probably a million variables I could name, but we don't have time. But there's a lot of variables in cutting. Where there isn't in reining, you got a pattern, your hands up in the air, you know, your spurs or wherever they're supposed to be. But, you know, you're dictating. Same with the jumping horse, same with the dressage horse, same with the roping horse. I mean, you've got the reins. Cutting's the only one where you really work as a partner with your horse, which is why it's such a beauty to watch when it really works great. There's nothing like it. I don't think there's nothing like having a good run and having your horse take over, and you're just there helping and supporting your horse, but you're not really dictating a whole lot. So when I started cutting a long time ago, when I was like 13, 14 years old, I didn't even have a horse. I showed up to practice and people let me turn back for a while because I got to be pretty good at that. And then they'd say, hey, you want to work my horse? I said, sure, I want the horse. And they'd bring this horse in, flip over backwards on me and run off. And it was the worst deal in the world. And pretty soon, I just stay with them, pull them around. Next week, they let me ride them again, got a little bit better, and pretty soon I was riding all the horses at the practice pen. So, and they weren't very good horses. And then the first horse I got to show he was a steer stopping horse. He wasn't even a cutting horse, and it was Mr. Nifty 121. But we kept cutting, and pretty soon I was winning the 250 novice at that time. So, showmanship is doing the best you can and staying in the game, coming out with a score, whether it's a 71 or a 72 or a 75, it doesn't matter. You completed your run and you've got a score. Now it's up to you to go in there and beat my score, or you to go in there and beat my score. And when you're trying to beat my score, you might mess up. So my little old 71 might place. If it doesn't place, but my horse did a lot of things right and stayed in the game, I'm going, man, that's a win. That's a win for me. Now I can work with that. I'll go home and work a little bit better and then go on, you know, and then maybe the next show that one's 3. Maybe I've got a better cow. We haven't even started talking about picking cows, but we will. Okay? I want to do that. You know, probably when we're just sitting around talking, we'll talk about what we look for in cows and the strategy in picking a cow. But there's so many variables. You got to control what you can control. Read the rule book, study the rule book. I still read the rule book before a major event. I've read it a million times. I still read it. I go over those rules. Okay, this is what I have to really try to emphasize. This is what I don't. You know, get started right at the start. Nail that cow, so I can keep it in the middle third of the pen. There's a famous quote that Lamar Jackson made, football player, says, you hear complaints about whatever, and he says, nobody cares. Work harder. Nobody cares. I can give you, we can all make excuses about our horse, or about our riding that day, or about the judge, or about our health, or about, we have no cow, or whatever. But nobody really cares. At the end of the day, if you want to get better, you work harder. That's my philosophy. But, so cutting to me, there's 3 things that are super important. Position, and position. Okay, so if you don't know where you're to be on the cow, and the reason why it's so important is this, cutting is control of the cow. We've got 21 rules, and they're all based on what you can do to have that good run and control a cow. And if you control the cow, your score goes up. If you don't control the cow, kick it at the rear end and race across the pen both ways, your score is going to go down because you're not controlling. So there's that little box that says control the cow, you're going to be a negative end. Degree of difficulty. Tough cow, but you're holding that cow, your score is going to go up in that box. So position is important. And on the flag, where I think people can work on their position on the cow, is that and the way I look at it, that flag is a cow. I call the flag a cow more than I call it a flag, and I will call it a cow today. And treat a lot of people will work that cow, that flag, just run, walk, stop over here, turn, stop, and then hit their horses really mechanical, and they're pushing up against that flag, and it doesn't even look like the work that you want to have tomorrow at the cut. So I'll knock off that flag a little bit. I'll walk up to it like I just brought it up, the cow out of the herd, got my hand, and that cow goes, and then I break and go with that cow and try to contain it as quick as I can. All right, but mainly I'm trying to stay in position. My helpers are going to help where they can, but I don't depend on them. I depend on myself trying to stop that cow, draw that cow to me, so that cow doesn't look like it's going to run off or take off. It's really working me, and my score goes up. So that position I'm talking about, so our flag is the cow today, for this one, is like this. It's got 2 little white things here, 2 little white things there. Your blade should be right here. the cow's heading this way. So I talk about it to the neck of the cow. If you're back here, watch it. You're way behind the cow. So you're just gonna push it. If you're way ahead here, you're going across the pan and you just keep drifting past this cow. Pretty soon, a real cow is gonna stop and turn around. You're way out here, so your turn is gonna look like this, and then you're gonna chase it back here. You see what I'm saying? So the position is, you've got to be, no matter where that cow is, if you're working from here or from here, you've got to be in here in the neck of that cow. She's moving. So you've got to go across the span, not fall off, hold your line, okay? Stop first, and then turn. That's kind of a simple way of putting it. Chubby always used to say, you know, it's so simple, you stop, go to the right, stop, turn to the left, stop. And basically that's right, as long as you're in the position of the cow. Okay? So if you're behind it, you're moving that cow, you're creating your own difficulty, which is not a plus on the card, it's a minus. And you're going to say, well, you know, that cow was bad. Well, not if you'd added it, but not if you were staying in position. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe it was. But we'll never know. Because you're behind it. Same thing, a lot of people yesterday, when I was telling them to stop their cow or stop their horse, they'd drift by, kind of halfway to pick their hand up, but they'd be way over here. The horse is kind of looking at this wall. Your cow turns around, and look how far you've got to go to get back over there. Again, you're not controlling the cow. And the flag, as good as there's a lot of good things about it, the bad things about it is it's never going to run off. So as you're going across the pen, you're driving behind it thinking you're holding the cow. But you're not. You're driving behind the flag. You're exercising the horse, but you're not simulating how you were that flag cow, how were you going to be on a real cow. So you're not doing your horse justice by telling him to stay way, way behind it. Because I'm going to stop that flag and turn it eventually, and then you're going to catch back up with it. Well, real cow's not going to stop there, right? So I'm trying to work that cow, the flag, like it's a real cow. So then I think then myself and the horse associate that a lot closer to a real cow, okay? And not behind it and not ahead of it. You know, where I'm just jerking and kicking. But if I'm not in time with that cow, that flag, I'm not gaining ground when I go work with a live cow.